I've been a nurse for close to 30 years, but today I want to tell you the story of my pain journey from the total other side, which is as a patient. My past medical history is essentially negative, except for in 2007 I had an L5-S1 discectomy, which I recovered from without any problems. And so I was living a very active, busy life for the next 7 years without really any residual back pain. But one morning in July of 2013, I woke up with this excruciating pain down my left leg, rated 10 out of 10. I mean, it was the most excruciating pain I've ever had, and I literally had to fall to the floor because it was so painful. I ended up in the ER under the care of my previous surgeon, and an MRI showed that I reherniated my disc, a large reherniation. And so I was admitted for pain control. I was starting on a Dilaudid PCA, and a few days later I had an epidural injection, and I was discharged after 4 days in the hospital with a bottle of Vicodin PRN and told to get about my normal activities. But I was completely unable to manage the pain. I tried anti-inflammatories, which really didn't work. I was reluctant to take the Vicodin because I had been on so many narcotics, so I kind of just spiraled down this black hole for the next few months. And in that time, I became anxious, I became depressed. I really hadn't slept for months since I had been admitted in the hospital more than 2 hours, so I was suffering some severe insomnia. I lost a great deal amount of weight because I had no appetite. My family just didn't know what to do with me. I was totally disconnected from them and from my friends. And I started having panic attacks when I went out because I just didn't know what was going on with me. I was really in a dark place in all aspects of my life, and my family was so concerned that my husband reached out to a few friends, one of them being Mark here, and he was able to finally refer us to someone who could help us, which was Glenn and his team. My experience with healthcare professionals was extremely disappointing, and in fact, it was awful. I knew that something was wrong with me, and I really attempted to seek out people that could help me, healthcare professionals. I saw 3 internists, I saw 2 different surgeons, I saw 2 pain management physicians, a pain psychologist, and I even tried acupuncture. And some particularly low points for me is when I saw one surgeon who made me wait in the waiting room for an hour and spent about 5 minutes with me telling me that, I could be a candidate for surgery. And so naturally I had questions. And he literally looked at his watch and he said, I have to go. And he left. And I just fell to tears after that. Another pain management physician looked at me and said, well, you've had 2 epidurals. There's really nothing more I can offer you. And so, they did, however, want to prescribe a lot of medications, and I felt like I was a polypharmacy. I had Percodan, Vicodin, Flexeril, Tramadol, Xanax, Zofran, Restorol, and lidocaine patches all on my counter. I just really felt like no one listened, no one cared, and they definitely all lacked compassion. My seek for help of all these healthcare professionals really propelled me to the bottom of that pit of despair that I was in, because at that point I became hopeless. I just had completely lost all hope. And, it was scary, but I had thoughts of really not wanting to go on.
Total pain is relationship pain, spiritual pain, stigma pain, emotional pain. It is multidimensional. And so for us as healthcare providers to think that we could offer someone a pill that would address all of those pains is very misled at best. Providing whole person care takes whole people to address and be with whole people in all of the needs. And that takes a whole team of people. And so I have been privileged to work with these lovely people sitting next to me in using all different kinds of modalities and tools, from mindfulness, from cognitive behavioral therapy, to scripture, to prayer, to family meetings. Everything and anything we could do to address their total pain.
So I had mentioned that we had gotten referred to Glenn, and I remember the first evening that we met with him, both Richard and myself. I really felt like someone finally listened to me. I had told my story over and over again to different people, but no one really listened, and I just really felt like he had the compassion and he had the empathy, and he really listened and understood how bad I was hurting. So, we ended up, he offered me a course of medication, methadone, and, but even in offering that, he completely left it up to me. He said, this is what we can do, but it's up to you. And I really like that patient, that the patient needs to decide what's best for them, and he totally let me do that. And there was automatic trust and respect on my end, so I felt confident enough that I could take that step as I began to physically heal. But then, chronic pain, as I alluded to, it touched every other aspect of me. My relationships, my spirituality, everything. And so, I could call Glenn at any time, and I said, the medicine's working okay, but I am just not well. And so that's how I got referred to Denise, and we met for about a year, just trying to go through all the things that had touched my life because of pain. One of them was my acceptance of taking pain medication and my own issues with narcotic pain medication that she helped me to work through. I also, because of chronic pain, had very negative thought patterns. My thoughts were so negative and dark. And so through journaling, she helped me to identify those thoughts and to replace them with more realistic and positive thoughts. Well, not positive, but more realistic thoughts, because my thinking was way dark. As I began to get more active, I began to, experience stress from everyday life and work. And, so she taught me mindful meditation and how I could use that as a tool to help me with stress, because we all know, stress exacerbates pain. And, I also discovered that just getting up from my desk and taking daily walks helped me in managing stress. My relationships were all broken, my kids, my husband, my friends, and so she helped me to, just through talking, to identify, how broken they were, and over time I was able to repair those relationships, especially with my marriage. In many respects, my healing still continues, and I expect that it will for a long time, but, when we talk about healing, I definitely feel like both Glenn and Denise assisted me to heal.